Coming up, bridge work continues on the South Range Line Road in Joplin, and this has caused some traffic issues. We'll hear from the Joplin Police Department on how to best navigate if you need to travel on Range Line.
Another dry start to the day, and we are going to be warmer. Your latest forecast coming up.
And Southeast Kansas will soon receive a $9 million grant to improve behavioral health services for nearly 40,000 students.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So just like yesterday where we were a bit warmer in the morning, we are again warmer today compared to even yesterday. And that's as temperatures are going to continue to trend upward. Skywatch Storm Tracker, by the way, still shows us right in the middle of that dry slot. You can see rain off to our west, rain off to our east, but nothing here in the middle of the country. 7th Range Line looking pretty decent, 65 degrees, mostly clear skies out there right now. We've got temperatures sitting in the 60s with a few exceptions. Say Pittsburgh, for example, 59, 58 Welch, 57 Miami. So there's a few upper 50s out there, but good chunk of us in the 60s, and that puts us another 5 to 10 degrees warmer this morning than we even were yesterday morning. And yesterday morning, we were 5 to 10 degrees warmer than the morning prior to that. So I want to talk about allergies because I don't know about anybody else, but my wife is at home near death, it seems, from severe allergies right now. And we are dealing with them in the moderately high level, 9.4 out of 12 for ragweed and 8.9 out of 12 for tomorrow for ragweed. So do make sure you take appropriate precautions for allergies. Keep the medicine handy, the allergy pills, because you're going to need them over the next few days. 60 degrees at 7 a.m. as kids board the bus, and when that bus brings them home, we're looking at 86 degrees, mostly clear skies. We'll have increasing clouds later tonight. We'll talk about that too, but 92 for an afternoon high. We'll stay clear through the early part of the evening. Then we'll see clouds increase, heading for a mostly cloudy night, overnight low of 62. We'll talk about the 7-day forecast and just how hot it's going to get here in just a little bit. All right, well, it is what it is. It's still kind of summertime. I mean, technically it's still summer, and it's still summertime in the 4 states, and Mother Nature's reminding us of that once again.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Oklahoma authorities investigate the deaths of 2 people in Delaware County Tuesday evening. Authorities say the bodies of a man and a young boy were found near Highway 28 and 395 road south of Grand Lake. They say a child found the 2 bodies in a ditch. They're not sure how long the bodies have been there. A car was near the bodies. Officials are not sure if the car is related, but they are getting a search warrant. Joplin police say the bridge construction on South Range Line Road is causing some traffic issues. To help, the Joplin Police Department is offering tips on navigating around it. They say not to use a parking lot as a detour. Also, do not make U-turns after a lane restriction or drive between cones. Officers will be watching that closely.
In cars that are cutting through business parking lots because they don't want to wait for a stoplight, or they're trying to go around the cones, which those cones are in place for a reason, and it's against the law to go around those cones. You can be cited, and we're looking at that very carefully to make sure that we're dealing with those. We want to keep you safe, and we want to keep the construction workers that are out trying to get this project done for us. We want to keep them safe. They deserve to go home as well.
Authorities also caution you should slow down in construction zones. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announced a $9 million grant to improve student behavioral health in Southeast Kansas. The funding will spread out over 5 years and be administered through the Department of Pediatrics at KU School of Medicine to fund KOAM. KOAM will integrate school-based community health workers into its behavioral health support system for students and families in need. Well, ticks are most active during the warm summer and fall months, and this time of year people may discover baby ticks, also known as seed ticks. Conservation worker from Joplin says the tiny ticks may curl up on a person's legs as groups. He says baby ticks do not spread diseases yet, but it's a good idea to wear protective clothing on your ankles or other vulnerable areas. Tiny ticks can be hard to notice, which is why he reminds people to check themselves after coming back from outside, possibly using a flashlight.
Sometimes you need a magnifying glass to be able to see them and get them because they're so small. And a lot of times they like to find your ankles, back of your knees, your waistband. So you may have to have somebody help you because they're they're so small, and the locations they're in, you may not be able to see them to remove them yourself.
Smith says if you have an adult tick, you can prevent it from spreading a disease if you get it removed as soon as possible, within 24 to 48 hours. Coming up on our 6 o'clock show, you can hear more from conservation experts on how to prevent tick bites as our own Yana Hatula takes a closer look at this story. Well, a launch failure sets back the Blue Origin space program on Monday. The new Shepard rocket, same type of rocket used for Blue Origin uses for space tourist flights, crashed to Earth. This was actually Sunday, following its launch in West Texas. The unmanned capsule landed safely, but the FAA has grounded Blue Origin's rockets pending an investigation. The company says safety system worked as designed, but it is not saying what caused the failure. This was the 9th flight of the new Shepard rocket. We'll have more on the crash coming up later in the show. I was wrong. It was actually Monday.
It was Monday. Okay. All right.
I'm thinking today is Tuesday for some reason.
I'm kind of glad it's Wednesday.
No, we are already on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now we're officially halfway through the work week, which means that puts us this much closer to the weekend than our weekend forecast. I wasn't kidding about temperatures warming up. 93 Saturday, 96 on Sunday. We'll have partly cloudy skies. That's when we start to see nights in the 70s. And a look at the 7-day forecast right now still shows no rain in sight. For the short term, we got 90s encroaching on us. We're talking lower to mid 90s, and overnight lows dropping into the upper 60s and then creeping into the lower 70s. So we do have some hot, dry conditions ahead of us for the next few days.
All right, we've got a lot of sports headlines coming up.
Yeah, Seneca taking on Lamar this Friday. Big deal there. And then, of course, our morning talker. We want to know how you're supporting local restaurants in the area. And we're going to talk about colon cancer screenings as well in Health Watch this morning. So we got a lot of stuff coming up right after this. Seneca Indians are off to a hot start this football season. Seneca is 3-0 in their first 3 games, outscoring their opponents 151-15. This week, big test for the Indians. They'll hit the field against Lamar on Friday. Tigers are also undefeated, sitting at 3-0 and ranked number 1 in the state in Class 2. We caught up with the Indians yesterday to talk about taking their shot at Lamar and what makes the Tigers so tough to prepare for.
We got a really good team coming in Friday, number 1 team in the state, and tons of tradition, what they've been able to do the last several years, and they're as advertised on film, so we'll have our hands full Friday night. Super athletic at every position. They can all run, they're physical, and then got some guys that can make you miss in space.
It would mean a lot for our program and our community, but one thing we want to focus on is just keep getting better week by week. You know, it's not like it's the state playoffs just yet or the district playoffs just yet, and it's week 4, so we're just on a gradual slope just to keep getting better and better.
Kansas City Chiefs won their season opener on Sunday, blowing out the Arizona Cardinals 44-21. This week, short week for the Chiefs. They have to turn right around and play again on Thursday, hosting the Los Angeles Chargers for their home opener. Chargers, like the Chiefs, are also 1-0. Kansas City has won 3 straight Thursday night games, including one against the Chargers last December. So Thursday games have been good for them lately, but they're still not easy.
They're tough. I mean, they're always tough because your body's not necessarily all the way back to where you want it to be, but you have to find ways to battle through it. And early in the season is kind of good and bad because you kind of, like when you play a division game, we've studied the Chargers a lot in the offseason, so you still have that fresh on your mind. But it seems like in the hits that you take early in the season, you're a little bit more sore because you're not used to them again. So it's a kind of, there's positive and negatives to it, but you just try to go in there and play your best football when it comes down to it at the end of the day.
St. Louis Cardinals opened the series at home against the Milwaukee Brewers, and Albert Pujols has a chance to get a little closer to making history. Pujols has 697 career home runs with 21 games left. Coming into the day, the Cards are in a pretty good spot with an 8-game lead in the NL Central. Andrew McCutchen still playing baseball. RBI there makes it 2-0 Brewers. Bottom of the first, 2 on for Nolan Arenado. He comes through with a double, scores both runners, and we're all tied up. Albert Pujols, no home runs last night, but he gets the RBI single to score Arenado. St. Louis has its first lead, but Andrew McCutchen back to work for Milwaukee. 2-run shot, his 17th. Brewers beat the Cardinals 8-4. Kansas City Royals also in action last night. They're on the road for their series opener against the Minnesota Twins. Twins win over Kansas City 6-3. Bobby Witt Jr. goes 1 for 4 on the evening with a double and an RBI. Still to come, Ukraine takes back almost 2,000 square miles of territory, and the ongoing war has raised rare criticism of Vladimir Putin back in Russia. Plus, take a look at your forecast when KOAM Morning News returns. Well, we're looking at a warm day ahead of us and more warm days on the way. We've got watching temperatures, they'll continue to rise, and we'll see increasing clouds tonight as well. And then we're going to remain dry for the next several days at least. And we're still eyeballing some storm chances for next week. As I mentioned yesterday, I mean, it was more than a week out, so a lot can change between now and then. We'll keep an eye and see if maybe we can get lucky and get a little rain into the area. Right outside of Chautauqua County, we have one little batch of rain out there all by itself. It probably won't last very long, but there's that tiny batch of rain. Across the lower 48, we are just in that dry slot right now, and there's a number of different shortwaves and storm systems that are going to be rolling across the area, moving to the east. The question is whether they'll stay to our north, or if we can coax them into tracking a little further south and bringing us some rain that we so desperately need across the area. 7th and range line, skies are clear, temperatures are good, but again, they're warmer than they were yesterday. 65 in Joplin as we start the day. Still some cool spots. There are some 50s on the board, say Miami, Grove, Anderson, for example, but then we've got 60s elsewhere. 60, 48 Center, 63 Chanute, and another 50, 59 in Pittsburgh, 63 in Lamar as we start this day. Despite that, we are still another 5 to 10 degrees warmer this morning than we were yesterday morning. And remember, yesterday morning, we were 5 to 10 degrees warmer than we were the morning before that. So we have a warming trend that's going on. We also have allergies to deal with. They are getting pretty nasty for some folks. I have been lucky. I will sneeze briefly with fresh mowed grass. But I've got some family members and I've got friends where the allergies are just beating them down. And here's why. Ragweed, 9.4 out of 12. And tomorrow we're looking at an 8.9 out of 12. So we got some high pollen levels out there that are going to make it unpleasant for allergy sufferers. Kids getting on the bus this morning at 7 a.m., mostly clear skies, about 60 degrees. When the bus brings them back, warmer, 86 at 3 o'clock. As we go through the rest of today, we got mostly clear skies today. We'll warm up nicely to a high of 92. Going into tonight, we're warmer this evening again, 62 for an overnight low. And the clouds will begin to increase overnight, and then they'll start to clear out. Quick look at the weekend as we get closer. 93 Saturday, 96 on Sunday. We'll have those partly cloudy skies, temperatures obviously warming up, and we get some nights in the 70s. And one last look at that 7-day forecast. You can see that warming trend as we push lower 90s to mid 90s over the next several days, and we stay hot and dry. More than 35 restaurants are offering special menus this week, and part of the proceeds will support Oklahomans struggling with hunger. Meredith McCowan digs into the details.
More than 35 restaurants, including Cicero's, are offering special menus this week, and part of the proceeds will support Oklahomans struggling with hunger. This is Tulsa's 16th annual Restaurant Week, held in September to bring attention to Hunger Awareness Month. The Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma partners with local restaurants for 10 days. Chef Jeff Marlowe says last year's campaign raised $44,000 to feed children in our state. The USDA projects Eastern Oklahoma will have the highest number of kids struggling with hunger. That's why Marlowe says this week is so important. A portion of those proceeds ordered from the special menus will be donated to help the Food for Kids program. Marlowe says it's a win-win for businesses and the food bank.
Restaurants are struggling right now. The pandemic hit them hard, and even during a very hard time that restaurants are at their weakest point, they're still committing to donating and fighting hunger. So I think that speaks a lot to the community of Tulsa in our local restaurants. So go out and support them.
Well, Restaurant Week started on Friday, September 9th, and runs through Sunday, September the 18th. So our question to you this morning, how do you support local businesses? Do you go visit them? Do you donate to them? Tell people about them? Maybe all those things? Maybe you do something a little different to help them out? Well, we want to know. Make sure you vote. KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Do so in our app, and of course take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. We're back with Health Watch right after this.
Health Watch this morning, actors Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney are making a personal milestone public and asking you to follow their example. They allowed video cameras to record their colonoscopies to raise awareness about the rising rates of colon cancer in people younger than 50. Bradley Blackburn has more.
Ryan Reynolds is having his first colonoscopy.
It's not every day that you can raise awareness about something that will most definitely save lives.
His appointment was with our doctor, John LaPook. Cameras rolling.
The procedure itself doesn't take long.
25 minutes later,
You did such a good prep that I was able to find an extremely subtle polyp that was on the right side of your colon. This was potentially life-saving for you. I'm not kidding. I'm not being overly dramatic. I mean, this is exactly why you do this, okay? You had no symptoms.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm thrilled for you.
Thank you so much for this. Seriously, thank you for pushing me to do this.
This is the polyp. I just cut it off at the snare, and it's gone. You are interrupting the natural history of a disease, of something, of a process that could have ended up, developing into cancer.
when it was Rob McElhenney's turn.
Today we found 3 polyps. They were small. They were not a big deal, but certainly a good thing that we found them early and removed them.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Both actors are 45 years old, the age now recommended for people at average risk for colorectal cancer to begin screening.
It dropped down because we're seeing colon cancer in younger people for reasons that are not clear.
And Dr. LaPook reminds,
if you have symptoms, if you have a change in your stool, and you have to get specific, if you notice bleeding, if you notice narrowing in the stool, you have abdominal pain, if you've been told of iron deficiency anemia, you're tired because of that, it could be because of invisible blood loss from a polyp or an early cancer that you don't even know about. If you have symptoms, go to your healthcare provider and get it evaluated.
Because it could be life-saving. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Food and Drug Administration to consider the first ever over-the-counter birth control pill. On Tuesday, a joint advisory meeting was officially scheduled for November. Officials will review an application for over-the-counter approval of the contraceptive O-pill. Contraceptive pill is a non-estrogen pill taken orally once a day to prevent pregnancy. It's currently available with a prescription. HRA Pharma submitted the application weeks after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Company officials said over-the-counter approval will, quote, help even more women and people access contraception without facing unnecessary barriers. The review is scheduled for November 18th. Well, did you enjoy a big breakfast today? Too early for that for me. A new study from the University of Aberdeen shows having a hearty breakfast can help curb hunger cravings throughout the day. However, researchers found big breakfasts do not help you lose weight. The study looked at 30 people who had big breakfast for 4 weeks and then big dinners for another 4 weeks. Researchers found no difference in weight loss between the two, but participants reported being less hungry through the day after having a hearty meal at the beginning of the day. That could be a big help if you're working on overall appetite control. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Got a pretty decent start to the day today. We are looking good at 7th and Range Line, and temperatures are looking good as well. 65 in Joplin with a light breeze from the south-southeast. Temperatures across the area, not too bad. We've got 58 Pittsburgh, 60 Parsons, 63 Chanute, 64 Fort Scott, 62 Nevada. And even though it's still a nice start to the day, we are another 5 to 10 degrees warmer now than what we were 24 hours ago. And we were 5 to 10 degrees warmer yesterday than we were for the day before. So there's a warming trend on the way. We're also dealing with some allergies. So I've got folks at home that are suffering right now. I've got some family members that are suffering. Today we're looking at a 9.4 out of 12 for ragweed, and we've got an 8.9 out of 12 for tomorrow. Kids getting on the bus this morning. 60, mostly clear, about 7 a.m. And then we're looking at 86 and mostly clear when that bus brings them back. And going through the rest of today, we're going to break the 90s, 92 for an afternoon high under mostly clear skies. Clouds increase overnight, so we get mostly cloudy skies, and that holds our temperature down to about 62 degrees. Heading into the weekend, we're looking at an even warmer set of temperatures. 93 Saturday, 96 on Sunday. We'll have partly cloudy skies. Obviously, the temperature's warming up, and that's going to leave us with overnights in the 70s. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Coming up, bridge work continues on the South Range Line Road in Joplin, and this has caused some traffic issues. We'll hear from the Joplin Police Department on how to best navigate if you need to travel Range Line.
We got one stray shower just to the west of Chautauqua County, but otherwise we're going to be dry. We'll talk about how long it's going to stay dry coming up.
And Southeast Kansas will soon receive a $9 million grant to improve behavioral health services for nearly 40,000 students.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5:29. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So despite that one stray shower, and I looked closer at the radar, there's another small one just to the southwest of Sedan in Chautauqua County. We are going to be dry. We're going to remain that way for a while, unfortunately. Yesterday we talked about potential rain chances by the middle to end of next week. They're still there. They're not as high, but again, this is still more than a week out. And there's a lot of things that can change. So don't give up don't give up your hopes yet. We may still have some rain next week, and hopefully we do, because we certainly need it, because we have been dry. We're going to remain dry too, unfortunately. Looking outside at 7th and Range Line, mostly clear skies as we start the day, 65 degrees in Joplin. We still have some cool spots out there. Temperatures in the, there we go, the button wasn't working, in the upper 50s. Say Pittsburgh, Miami, Welch, Grove, Veneta, Jay, Newada, even Anderson getting in on the 50s. But otherwise, we got lower 60s, and despite that, we are still upwards of 5 to 10 degrees warmer than where we were even yesterday morning. Allergies also a serious issue right now. They've got a few sufferers at home, and I'm sure there's more of you out there, so keep the allergy meds handy. We got a 9.4 out of 12 for ragweed today, and an 8.9 out of 12 for ragweed tomorrow. Ragweed is the primary allergen concern out there. Bus stop forecast, 60 degrees by 7 a.m. under mostly clear skies. Bus brings them home, 86, mostly clear skies at 3. We're heading for a high of 92 with mostly clear skies for the early part of the evening. And we'll have some increasing cloud cover as well as we head into tonight. Mostly cloudy skies, overnight low of 62. And we're getting ever closer to the weekend. You can see we are also getting ever closer to very warm temperatures. 93 Saturday, 96 on Sunday. With partly cloudy skies on both those days.
All right, well, hot again. It feels like summer still.
It technically still is summer, and so Mother Nature said, hey, here's just a quick reminder. It's still summer, and here's some temperatures to prove it.
When is the official end of summer?
We got about 2 more weeks or so. 2 and a half weeks.
If it could just align up with meteorological fall, that would be great.
Well, and you know, sometimes in the 4 states,
which is already passed.
That's what happens is as soon as we hit, say, September 1st, we go from 90s at the end of August, and in September we're suddenly looking at highs in the 50s. So It does happen on occasion, just not this time.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, Joplin police say the bridge construction on South Rangeline Road is causing some traffic issues. To help, the Joplin Police Department is offering tips on navigating around it. They say not to use a parking lot as a detour, please. Also, do not make U-turns after a lane restriction or drive between cones. Officers will be watching that closely.
Our recommendation is give yourself more time, leave several minutes early to allow you to have that time stuck in traffic, and as you're traveling, make sure that you're keeping distance between you and the car in front of you, because the more traffic that's on the road and the more congestion that there is, the more likely you are to rear end someone if the traffic were to stop suddenly.
Perhaps the most important tip to remember, take it slow in construction zones. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announces a $9 million grant to improve student behavioral health in Southeast Kansas. The funding will spread out over 5 years and be administered through the Department of Pediatrics at KU School of Medicine to fund KOAM. KOAM will integrate school-based community health workers into its behavioral health support system for students and families in need. Southeast Kansas has some of the highest unemployment rates in the state. According to the Kansas Works Department, as of July 2022, the unemployment rate in the state of Kansas was 2.4%. Cherokee County has an unemployment rate of 3.4%. Crawford County is at 3.9%, Labette County at 4.1%, and Bourbon County sits at 4.2%. Despite the higher unemployment rates, there are many job postings in the region. Cherokee County has 165 postings. Crawford has 316 postings, Labette 200, and Bourbon with 56. Well, despite several lawsuits challenging it, legalizing marijuana remains on the ballot for Missouri this November. On Tuesday, a Missouri Supreme Court ruling essentially denied a challenge of signatures on the ballot initiative and upholds the certification. Tuesday was the statutory deadline for ballot changes in Missouri. The election is on November 8th. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt issues an executive order to deliver drought relief to farmers across the state. The governor says it's due to drought conditions in all 77 counties of Oklahoma. The order calls for the immediate formation of a drought commission to consider requests for use of emergency drought relief funds. The board consists of the state's agriculture secretary and the directors of the Oklahoma Conservation Commission and Water Resources Board. Well, a Joplin area program that helps residents lower their utility payments is expanding. The weatherization program at the Economic Security Corporation in Joplin is getting the physical space of their building bigger, approximately 240 more square feet. The program is geared towards energy efficiency and helping people who cannot pay their utility bills.
But we're also trying to make the people more comfortable in their home. So, you know, if they're cold in the wintertime, you know, we're trying to seal up those spots around their home, trying to change out light bulbs to make the home more energy efficient, and we're just trying to help the people do what's best.
Daniel says even if you have not qualified for the income-based program before, you might now. A spectacular launch failure has set back Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin space program. The New Shepard rocket, the same type of rocket that's used for space tourist flights, crashed to Earth after its launch in West Texas on Monday. Mark Strassman has more on the failed launch.
It was the 9th flight of this New Shepard rocket, carrying 36 science experiments to the edge of space. But about a minute into its climb, a malfunction. The onboard computer, sensing trouble, jettisoned the capsule up and away from the failing booster.
It appears we've experienced an anomaly with today's flight.
It's not yet clear why the booster failed and fell back to Earth, crashing out of camera view. No people were inside the capsule. It descended under parachutes and appeared to land normally. Call it a successful failure, made possible by a key safety feature installed in the center of the capsule, the escape system.
Come on into the capsule?
Blue Origin's Ariane Cornell showed us last year.
If there's any issue detected with the rocket, we've got the rocket, the capsule on board. On top, we will fire this escape motor to get the capsule far and fast away from the booster.
New Shepard is the workhorse rocket of Blue Origin's space tourism business. Since last summer, it has successfully flown 31 people on 6 flights.
This is heaven!
Those human flights use a different New Shepard booster and capsule than the ones involved in Monday's mishap. But for now, all flights are on hold while the FAA investigates.
Mark Strassman, CBS News.
This morning, we are discussing support for local businesses. Tulsa serves up its 16th annual Restaurant Week. The event helps bring attention to Hunger Awareness Month every year, and the Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma partners with local restaurants for 10 days. It's a win-win situation for all parties involved and shows the community power that local businesses can have if given the support. Our question, how do you support local businesses? Do you patronize them? Do you donate to them? Or do you tell other people about them? Maybe you do all of those options or something else. We want to hear from you. Make sure you go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote, or go to our Facebook page and my Facebook page and join the discussion as well. Well, that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. We've got Hollywood news on the way, including a new Brad Pitt movie. Man, I just got done watching one. Plus, John Hamm takes over the role of the investigative reporter popularized by Chevy Chase in the new movie Fletch Confess. We'll have details. And you're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, Japan's Emperor Narhitu and Empress Masako will be attending the state funeral for Queen Elizabeth II. That's according to Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Hirokazu Matsuno, who made the announcement on Tuesday. Matsuno also added that Prime Minister Fumio Kishida will not be attending the event. Well, Japanese emperors do not traditionally attend funerals. Queen Elizabeth II had close ties with both the imperial family and Japan. Well, top leaders from around the globe are expected at Queen Elizabeth II's funeral next week. Russian President Vladimir Putin will not be one of them. Although the full invitation list has not yet been finalized, the British government confirms Putin will not be invited due to his invasion of Ukraine. Belarus and Myanmar officials have also been ruled out of the guest list. The palace sends invitations to state funerals on the advice of the government after members of the civil and diplomatic services have considered the political implications of inviting certain leaders. Palace protocol is not to reveal invitees to family events, and it has not commented on the guest list. Typically, every country that the United Kingdom has normal diplomatic relations with would be invited to a state funeral, such as the one which will be held for the late monarch in London next Monday. The dramatic advance of Ukraine's army is causing some public anger in Russia. Ukrainian troops have recaptured an estimated 2,000 square miles of territory in recent days. The country's president says the counterattack will continue. Russian President Vladimir Putin is now facing some rare criticism at home. Deborah Pata has the latest.
Seizing the momentum, Ukrainian troops continue their remarkable advance. Yellow and blue, pretty much the only colors flying high across this region today, as they win the admiration of liberated towns and villages. Our troops were so smart, said this woman. The Russian soldiers ran away so fast. They planned this really well. When Vladimir Putin declared war on Ukraine nearly 7 months ago, his troops seized massive chunks of Kharkiv. But in just a matter of days, Ukrainian forces have blitzed through Russia's gains, snatching back huge swaths of land. It's a crushing defeat and a decisive strike against Moscow's ability to resupply their forces. Now they can no longer use liberated Izium as a strategic hub. They left all their explosives and ammunition here, said this Ukrainian soldier. As the Russian front line collapsed, the extent of a war declared largely on civilians is becoming clear. Hospitals and schools blown up, people killed in their own backyards. Away from the battlefield, hard questions for Putin on state-run television, which usually only pushes Moscow's line in its so-called special military operation. It's either full-scale war or we get out, said former parliamentarian Boris Nadezhdin, and policy expert Viktor Olevich exclaimed in disbelief. You say everything's going according to plan? You really think 6 months ago we planned on leaving and repelling a counteroffensive?
Ukrainians want to believe that the tide is turning in a war that's been weighted in Russia's favor, but Secretary of State Antony Blinken warned that while this counteroffensive was well planned and had clearly benefited from Western military aid, it was too early to predict an outcome. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we're heading for an afternoon high of 92 degrees today under mostly clear skies, and tonight we'll watch the clouds increase. Temperatures will drop back gradually for an overnight low of 62. More of the KOAM Morning News after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Oklahoma authorities investigate the deaths of 2 people in Delaware County. Authorities say the bodies of a man and a young boy were found near Highway 28 and 395 road south of Grand Lake. They're not sure how long the bodies have been there, though a car was near the bodies. Officials are getting a search warrant to see if the car is related. Bridge construction on South Rangeline Road is causing some traffic issues. To help, the Joplin Police Department is offering tips on navigating around it. They say not to use a parking lot as a detour. Also, do not make U-turns after a lane restriction or drive between cones. Authorities also caution that you should slow down in construction zones. Queen Elizabeth II's coffin arrives at Buckingham Palace after being transported from a Royal Air Force base in West London by car. Royal family received the coffin as it arrived at the palace. Coffin was brought from Edinburgh, Scotland earlier on Tuesday. Elizabeth II's only daughter, Princess Anne, accompanied the Queen on her final flight. And French-Swiss director Jean-Luc Godard dies at the age of 91. A key figure in the French New Wave of cinema movement, Godard skyrocketed to international acclaim with his debut film Breathless in 1960 and is credited as one of the most important filmmakers in movie history. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. We've got an epic movie about a legendary Tinseltown era and a major change for a long-running soap opera.
Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
When I first moved to LA, signs on all the doors said, no actors or dogs allowed. I changed that.
Here's your first look at Babylon, about the decadence and dreams of 1920s Hollywood. Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie lead the ensemble cast of the drama from La La Land writer-director Damien Chazelle. Babylon opens in limited release December 25th and in wide release January 6th.
Just because Orpheus has said that he's won doesn't mean that he has won.
After 57 years on broadcast television, the iconic soap opera Days of Our Lives has moved to streaming. Deidre Hall, who's starred on the show for more than 40 years, says the switch won't affect the content.
It doesn't change anything for us at work. We go to have the same dressing rooms and the same stages, blah, blah, blah. It's changing for the fans and where they find it.
Fans can now find current and previous episodes of Days on Peacock. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
All right.
Yeah, I remember reading when they announced they were going to pull Days of Our Lives, and I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot of people out there that watch it that don't have streaming services, don't have the first clue how to even utilize those, and they replaced it with a news broadcast, a national news broadcast. So
I mean, nothing against news, because obviously that's what we
right,
do.
I mean, it's what we do.
But it's
just
a national news on like a local network, so that's rough.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious what will happen to Days of Our Lives numbers. I mean, unless NBC is, or maybe they're trying to kill the show.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like more and more local networks, like, I mean, there used to be like 4 hours straight on every channel, it seemed like, of soap operas. Like,
I remember that.
Is the interest in soap operas waning or something?
That'd be my guess, because I mean, you remember there used to be a lot of them, and now we're down to what, maybe 4?
Well, our noon show, we have a soap opera lead-in, and we pitch right back out to a soap opera, and that seems to work.
But I mean, the times are changing, I guess. Maybe there is a waning interest.
More people are at work during the day.
True.
Less stay at home.
That's true. There's a lot fewer stay-at-home moms these days than there were, 15, 20 years ago.
And I'm not even talking about the pandemic.
Yeah, we're talking
about
just in general,
natural.
the trends that have changed over the years.
True. All right, well, Mad Men star Jon Hamm takes on a very different role in his latest film.
Rick Damigella reports.
Hi, Frank.
Where are you right now?
None of your business.
Come on, Fletch. Aren't you bored? I need you for a story.
Jon Hamm steps into the shoes of Irwin M. Fletcher in Confess Fletch.
But I was an investigative reporter of some repute. I don't do much of that anymore.
Why?
It's an occupation that's been cheapened by the digital age, like president.
The movie reboots the Fletch film series with the story hewing closer to Gregory MacDonald's novels.
One of my first accidental lessons on movie making was understanding that the books are very different from the movie. And that was exciting to me, was that there were 10 more of these books that you could tell more stories, and maybe someday that could actually happen. And then someday happened, and I got the call to be in it.
This is a project that he's been passionate about, that he's been trying to get made for a long time, that he cares about deeply. He's also extremely smart. And when he delivers his humor, it comes with that intelligence. So a lot of the times you're just like, wait, what did he just say?
Hey guys, this is the way we can call in a coffee or a kill for a macchiato. Not literally.
As the detective, the inspector rather, it was very important that I come in grounded and make sure that I am helping to spell out why Fletch is a terrible person.
I looked into your criminal record.
And?
You're a bit of a shady character, Mr. Fletcher.
But I am adorable.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
He is adorable.
Yeah, that's a nice extension of that series.
There you go.
We got another check of the forecast coming up. As we go through today, we are going to see mostly clear skies, an afternoon high of 92 degrees. And as we head into tonight, we've got an overnight low of 62 with clouds increasing. We're back right after this.
Coming up, authorities in Delaware County, Oklahoma investigate the deaths of 2 people.
Watching a couple of dying showers in western Chautauqua County. We're going to be dry. How long is it going to be dry and how hot will it get? We'll tell you coming up.
And a Joplin area program that helps people lower their utility bills is expanding.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5:59. I'm Tanya Bach.
Yeah, I'm Chris Warner. I misunderstood. We've got a guy in the studio, runs the cameras. He tells me how much time we have in our commercial breaks. He also tells me how much time I have for that final forecast at the end of the last hour. I asked him the question at the same time he was getting information about our commercial break, and I misunderstood what he said. So that's why I only gave like 2 seconds of weather, because I thought that's what he was trying to tell me. So kind of messed everything up.
Par for the course.
That's a Wednesday. We're halfway there, and it's definitely Wednesday. But I won't mess up this one. We're going to take a look at 7th and Rangeline, and you can see skies are clear. A few more cars out on the road, and they'll continue to increase, of course, throughout the day. 63 in Joplin. We've come down a couple of degrees. We got a few more 50s on the board. 59 Columbus, 58 Pittsburgh, 62 Chanute, and 61 in Nevada and Lamar. Despite that, though, look at Parsons, for example. We're still 5 to 10 degrees warmer now than what we were at this time yesterday. We're also dealing with allergies. I want to talk about that because there's some allergy sufferers in my life. I'm not one of them, thankfully. But ragweed, 9.4 out of 12 today and an 8.9 out of 12 tomorrow. So if you suffer from allergies, do keep the allergy medicine handy. You will need it. Kids getting on the bus, 60 degrees at 7 a.m. under mostly clear skies. When that bus brings them home, a little bit warmer today, 86, still mostly clear skies. And that's what we'll see most of today as we head for an afternoon high of about 92 degrees. And then we'll see increasing clouds later tonight. And as they increase, our temperatures, of course, will decrease only slightly, 62 for an overnight low. And looking at the weekend, check out these temperatures, 93 on Saturday, 96 on Sunday. Partly cloudy skies, the temps are going to warm up, and then we'll start to see some of those nights in the 70s. We're going to take a look at the 7-day forecast and just how warm it is going to get a little bit later.
All right, well, it's going to be hot, so be prepared. It's still summer. We keep saying that. It is
still summertime. We've got some time left, and Mother Nature is saying the same thing, saying it's summertime.
That's right. All right, thanks, Chris. Oklahoma authorities investigate the deaths of 2 people in Delaware County Tuesday evening. Authorities say the bodies of a man and a young boy were found near Highway 28 and 395 road south of Grand Lake. They say a child found the 2 bodies in a ditch. They're not sure how long the bodies have been there. A car was near the bodies. Officials are not sure if the car is related, but they are getting a search warrant. Joplin police say the bridge construction on South Rangeline Road is causing some traffic issues. To help, the Joplin Police Department is offering tips on navigating around it. They say not to use a parking lot as a detour. Also, do not make U-turns after a lane restriction or drive between cones. Officers will be watching that closely.
Cutting through business parking lots because they don't want to wait for a stoplight, or they're trying to go around the cones, which those cones are in place for a reason, and it's against the law to go around those cones. You can be cited, and we're looking at that very carefully to make sure that we're dealing with those. We want to keep you safe, and we want to keep the construction workers that are out trying to get this project done for us. We want to keep them safe. They deserve to go home as well.
Authorities also caution that you should slow down in construction zones. Despite several lawsuits challenging it, legalizing marijuana remains on the ballot for Missouri this November. On Tuesday, a Missouri Supreme Court ruling essentially denies the challenge of signatures on the ballot initiative and upholds the certification. Tuesday was the statutory deadline for the ballot changes in Missouri. The election is November 8th. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announces a $9 million grant to improve student behavioral health in Southeast Kansas. Funding will spread out over 5 years and be administered through the Department of Pediatrics at KU School of Medicine to fund CanAware. CanAware will integrate school-based community health workers into its behavioral health support system for students and families in need. Oklahoma could expand pregnancy and postpartum services. Governor Kevin Stitt, along with the Helping Every Life and Parent Task Force, unanimously recommended the Oklahoma Health Care Authority to expand coverage for Sooner Care members. 2 major policies were proposed. One would increase Oklahoma's income threshold for full-scope pregnancy-related benefits from 138% to 205% of the federal poverty level. The other policy would provide new mothers with up to 12 months of continuous postpartum coverage. You can find information on more proposed services, KOAMnewsnow.com. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt issues an executive order to deliver drought relief to farmers across the state. The governor says it's due to drought conditions in all 77 counties of Oklahoma. The order calls for the immediate formation of a drought commission to consider requests for use of emergency drought relief funds. The board consists of the state's agriculture secretary and the directors of the Oklahoma Conservation Commission and Water Resources Board. Well, a Joplin area program that helps residents lower their utility payments is expanding. The weatherization program at the Economic Security Corporation in Joplin is getting the physical space of their building bigger, approximately 240 more square feet. The program is geared towards energy efficiency and helping people who cannot pay their utility bills.
But we're also trying to make the people more comfortable in their home. So, you know, if they're cold in the wintertime, you know, we're trying to seal up those spots around their home, trying to change out light bulbs to make the home more energy efficient, and we're just trying to help the people do what's best.
Daniel says even if you have not qualified for the income-based program before, you might now. Neosho Police Department is warning residents of a scam that has cost some citizens thousands. Sergeant Tomlinson says the callers claim to be with government agencies like the FBI and the IRS. Scammers use the name of those agencies and other scare tactics to try to take people's money.
What they've been doing recently is requesting gift cards from various stores such as Walgreens, Come and Go, Lowe's, places like that. They'll have the victim buy these cards and provide the card number, and that's how they get the information. They pull the money off of the card.
Authorities say if you get any calls like this, you should immediately contact the police. Well, today, back in 1982, Hollywood star and real-life princess Grace Kelly dies. Kelly, whose acting credits include The Country Girl and Rear Window, dies at the age of 52 from injuries suffered after her car plunged off a mountain road near Monte Carlo. During the height of her Hollywood career in the 1950s, Kelly became an international icon of beauty and glamour. Born in 1929 in Philadelphia, Grace Kelly began acting as a child, and after high school, she attended the American Academy for Dramatic Arts in New York. While she auditioned for Broadway plays, the classic blonde beauty supported herself by modeling and appearing in TV commercials. In 1949, Kelly debuted on Broadway in The Father by August Strindberg, and 2 years later, she landed her first Hollywood bit part in 14 Hours. Her big break came in 1952 when she starred as Carrie Cooper's wife in the Western High Noon. Kelly gave up her acting career after marrying Prince Rainier III of Monaco on April 18, 1956. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Boston University receives a package that causes the injury of one person.
And we are looking at another warmer start to today. Just how warm will it get? We've got the answer.
And our very own Ayana Hatula teaches us how you can prevent ticks. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch this morning, West Virginia is the latest state to pass an abortion ban. The state's bill allows exceptions to save a pregnant woman's life or in cases of rape or incest. Those cases, however, require police reports to allow for an abortion. Women who obtain abortions illegally will not face penalties. Healthcare providers who perform them can receive disciplinary action, including losing their medical license. The measure passed both West Virginia's House and Senate on Tuesday. And now it just needs the governor's signature to become law. A package that exploded at a Boston university on Tuesday evening contained a rambling note criticizing Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg and the relationship between academic institutions and virtual reality. It arrived at Northeastern University in a hard plastic container that was delivered to the school's virtual reality center. It reportedly detonated when a staff member opened it. The 45-year-old worker was taken to a hospital and is being treated for minor burns and lacerations to his hands. A second package was also found at the scene, but was not deemed to be a threat. The building was temporarily evacuated, but the campus has since been declared safe. It's unclear how the package came to be on campus. Boston Police Bomb Squad and Emergency Services are investigating. FBI agents are spotted working at a dig site at a Providence, Rhode Island cemetery on Tuesday. Kristen Satira from the FBI's Boston office confirmed evidence response team was there in relation to an ongoing investigation. Satira declined to comment on whether a body is being exhumed. She emphasized that there is no threat to public safety. Rhode Island officials are involved in the investigation, but a health department spokesperson would not give details. That's a look at some of today's top national stories. We'll be right back.
All right, we are going to see some warm days ahead of us. Let's talk about that forecast. Temperatures will continue to rise today, and then we'll see some increasing clouds later this evening. Then we're going to remain dry for the next several days. We're still keeping an eye on the possibility of some shower and storm chances by next week. A couple of dying showers out in Chautauqua County. Otherwise, we are dry across the Midwest. As you can see, there's rain off to our west, rain off to our east, and we are just clear right now here locally. 7th range line, even though the sun's not up, I promise, we got clear skies. That's what's going on. And we got 63 degrees in the city of Joplin, so a couple degrees cooler than earlier this morning, but still up there. So 56 Miami, 53 Grove, 58 in Pittsburgh, 62 in Chanute. Despite the temperatures again being pleasant this morning, we are upwards of, again, 5 to even 10 degrees warmer now than we were 24 hours ago. And remember, yesterday morning, we were 5 to 10 degrees warmer than we were Monday morning. So we've seen a roughly 20-degree increase in temperatures just in the last 48 hours. What we're also seeing is some unpleasant pollen conditions as well. We've got ragweed as the main culprit here with a 9.4 out of 12, so that moderately high area. Same tomorrow, but an 8.9 out of 12. So if you do suffer from allergies, like my wife at home, it's been kicking her butt for the last few days. Make sure you keep the allergy medicine handy. Going on to the bus, we got 60 degrees, mostly clear skies at 7 a.m. And then when the bus brings them back, warmer, 86, still mostly clear. And we'll be mostly clear for most of today. So we'll eventually reach a high of 92, and then we'll watch the increasing clouds later this evening. And that'll leave us with mostly cloudy skies tonight, and as we start tomorrow, 62 for the overnight low. Then take out the weekend, 93 Saturday, 96 on Sunday. Yes, it's 96 in September. Partly cloudy skies, temperatures very clearly warming up, and we're going to start to see nights in the 70s. Now on the future track, you can see where some rain tries to skirt the area, say Friday and even Saturday, but really, the majority of us should remain dry, unfortunately. And as we head into the start of next week, you can see some showers try to start in by late Sunday, but they die out. And you see some of those temperatures pushing the mid-90s as we go in. We were watching the possibility of some showers and storms heading into Friday. Right now, that's been a little bit scaled back, but we're still watching the possibility we could get some showers and storms. You saw the sharp temperature contrast as well as we head into the end of next week. Right now, though, the next 7 days, we got 90 tomorrow, mostly cloudy, and then we have partly cloudy skies, hot temperatures for the remainder of the week. And those overnight lows gradually creep up until we start reaching the lower 70s. So dry conditions all around, partly cloudy skies, and that again allows us to stay hot and dry. Some tense moments for members of a Kansas family on Monday when a speeding car crashed through their house, destroying their garage and a truck inside. Alan Shope reports.
It's like I could hear a succession of glass breaking, smash, more glass breaking.
Cheryl Steffen was home on the couch yesterday when she heard that glass breaking, and she knew it was her house.
I knew it was. I thought a bomb was going off in the garage.
She rushed outside to see what Chopper 9 was showing us from the sky. A driver claiming to have no brakes smashed into her home just feet away from where she was sitting.
It was a shock.
After a neighbor called 911, Cheryl made sure the driver was okay, then started shooting this video with her cell phone. That's when she realized what a close call it actually was.
The trajectory of his car, if you look at the tracks in the yard, was through my dining room. It turned and it came through the garage instead.
The homeowners have lived here for 12 years, and when they did their landscaping, they put this berm in to protect them from this exact same thing. But as you can see, the driver went right around it.
Several big rocks that he hit along the way broke those up. None of that seemed to slow anything down.
Cheryl says, of course, the silver lining was that no one was hurt.
We were blessed, honestly.
She says the family has insurance and will rebuild.
Certainly some terrifying moments for those homeowners. And as Alan mentioned, they attempted to prevent that problem, but were unsuccessful since this car made it around. And it's always something that's been concerning to me. Well, I grew up in Joplin. We lived on the corner of 19th and Moffett, and we had a couple of close calls, but thankfully we had some trees out front. We had a car accident where they knocked the other car into the 2 trees out front, and they were scarred for life from that. But outside of that, they never made it up into our yard fully. So always got to be cautious, especially when it comes to some drivers, because boy, they don't always drive safely. We'll be right back with Health Watch right after this.
Months. KOAM's Narhitu talked to a Joplin conservation specialist and naturalist about the tips on how to protect ourselves from tick bites.
Ticks tend to live in environments where there are a lot of animals, especially here in Missouri.
It seems like when we see a large population of deer in an area, then it seems like we have a large population of ticks.
According to Missouri Department of Conservation, there are at least 6 different human tick-borne diseases that have been reported in Missouri.
Rocky Mountain spotted fever is one of the first ones people think about. Lyme's disease is another one people think about. And some of those diseases we may not have here in southwest Missouri, but we have diseases that replicate that.
Smith says with the research he has read, he learned these diseases can possibly still be prevented if people act quickly after noticing a tick.
The tick has to stay on you for about 24 to 48 hours before they'll transmit any type of disease.
With adult ticks, there also is a new group of ticks entering the environment. Seed ticks are becoming very common at this time of the year. These baby ticks are born in groups, and therefore people may find a lot of them curling up on their legs.
Sometimes you need a magnifying glass to be able to see them and get them because they're so small. And a lot of times they like to find your ankles, back of your knees, your waistband, so you may have to have somebody help you.
Even though the seed ticks are usually not spreading diseases, a naturalist from Wildcats Friends group agrees they are hard to notice.
Those I think are the tough ones because you might think it's a mole, but usually I think the best thing is to get a flashlight and to look because they'll kind of be shiny on your skin.
Jackson recommends always wearing covering clothes, especially for ankles when being in possible tick areas.
Out, keep a lint roller in your car. You would be surprised at how well those lint rollers will take things off of your pants, especially ticks.
In Joplin, Janna Hautala, KOAM News.
According to Smith, ticks will be around until temperatures go below freezing. A new study finds the best way to calm a crying baby is walking while carrying the infant. Study in Japan found walking for just 5 minutes stopped the crying and lowered the baby's heart rate. Researchers found that short walks followed by sitting for 8 minutes were the best approach for putting a baby to sleep. Now, just sitting while holding babies failed to stop crying in most cases. Engineers have invented a wearable device that can measure when a tumor grows in size. The technology developed at Stanford University would provide an easier and less invasive way to detect whether cancer treatment drugs are working. The device is made of skin-like polymer with gold circuitry and can adhere to human skin. A study of rats have found excessive exposure to smartphones and tablets could alter hormone levels and cause early onset puberty. The European Society for Pediatric Endocrinology found blue light from phones and tablets causes hormone imbalances in female rats. Doctors say there have been cases of early puberty among young girls during the COVID pandemic, and they say it's possible for phone and tablet use could be to blame. I did not like looking at that video. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Well, you may not like this forecast either because it's going to be a little bit toasty. 7th and range line skies are looking good. Temperatures right now are looking good. There's 63 in Joplin as we start the day. We got 59 Fort Scott and Nevada, 56 in Pittsburgh, 59 Columbus, 61 Parsons, 62 in Chanute. Despite how cool some of these temperatures may seem, we're still 5 to 10 degrees warmer now than we were yesterday. And yesterday we were 5 to 10 degrees warmer than what we were on Monday. We're talking a 20-degree temperature difference. We're also talking allergies. They are really bothering some folks, and this is why. Ragweed is the main culprit here. 9.4 out of 12 today and an 8.9 out of 12 tomorrow. So do keep the allergy medicine handy because it's not going to get any better for a little while. We will see mostly clear skies at 7 a.m., 60 degrees when the bus picks up the kids. When it brings them back, we're looking at mostly clear and 86. And as we go through the rest of the day, we're going to warm up to an afternoon high of 92 under mostly clear skies. And as we head into the evening, As the temperatures come down, clouds will increase and will eventually reach an overnight low of 62 degrees. And the weekend forecast looking toasty, 93 Saturday, 96 Sunday, partly cloudy skies, temperatures on the rise, and that's when we start to see nights in the 70s. And take a look at the 7-day forecast. No relief in sight from the heat or the rain. Temperatures will just continue to rise to the lower to mid 90s for the next several days. Partly cloudy skies and dry conditions all around. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Coming up, authorities in Delaware County, Oklahoma investigate the deaths of 2 people.
Got a nice start to the day, but it's going to be a hot one. We're going to talk temperatures coming up.
And a Joplin area program that helps people lower their utility bills is expanding.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6:29. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. It is a pretty decent start to the day for a lot of us. Here's the thing. I've been showing the how warm we are compared to 24 hours ago. So I've been talking about it this morning. We're roughly 5 to 10 degrees warmer than what we were yesterday morning. But yesterday morning, we were also 5 to 10 degrees warmer than what we were from Monday morning. So we're talking a 20-degree increase in morning temperatures in the last 2 days.
Right.
And that is a sign of some things to come, unfortunately. And we'll talk about those things to come. Right now, it's 7th and range line. See, here's the deal, though. Even despite that, temperatures are still pretty decent. Look at that. I mean, it's 63 degrees in Joplin right now. It's not too bad. And then we take a look around the area. I mean, Pittsburgh, 56, 61, Lamar, 56, Miami, 53 down in Grove. But you'll also notice on this next map, not everybody is 5 to 10 degrees warmer. Grove's only 4. Girard's up 4, Fort Scott's up 1. Parsons, though, look at them, they're up 10 degrees from this time yesterday. And that's, again, a sign of things to come. Something else, keep allergy medicine handy. Ragweed is really kicking up right now. We're looking at an 9.4 out of 12 for today, an 8.9 out of 12 for tomorrow in terms of the pollen count. That's in the moderately high category. Bus stop weather, 60 degrees, mostly clear skies at 7 a.m. And when the bus brings them back, mostly clear skies yet again, 86. We're heading for an afternoon high today of about 92 degrees, which is much warmer than what we were yesterday, a few degrees warmer. Mostly clear skies, and clouds increase tonight, giving us some mostly cloudy skies. The temperature drops back down to about 62 degrees by 6 a.m. The weekend looking toasty, 93 Saturday, 96 on Sunday, partly cloudy skies, and that's when we start to see some overnight lows in the 70s. So we're talking a 30-degree increase from Monday morning to Sunday morning. We're going to talk about the rest of the week, just how hot it's going to get and how dry it's going to be a little later.
Yeah. Well, a lot to talk about. Unfortunately, a lot of heat to talk about, too.
Yeah, it's still, I mean, it is still technically summertime in the 4 states. So, I mean, this is what we get when it's summer. So,
I wish we could get that rain a little sooner.
Yeah, hopefully we can get some rain, but it's still a ways away.
I feel like we're negative Nancy's this morning.
Well, the forecast just isn't so good. It's also Wednesday.
It's hump day. You know, we're halfway through the work week. We got to get excited.
I am excited. I don't know. I think
this is not my bubbly Chris.
I'm tired.
People are going to start thinking we're hating each other or something.
Well, maybe today we do. I'm kidding. No, well, the other issue is, and this is by no fault of her own, my wife is dealing. That's why, she asked about the allergy forecast this morning because she was up at 2 o'clock in the morning. She's been up all night. It started bothering her Saturday evening, and I've got a nephew who's also just been beat down into bed with allergies as well. And so I figured just for her, I'd take a look and see if we could get some pollen numbers, and boy, are they up there. So I feel bad for her. She's been up all night, and I feel for her. It just kind of wears you down, too, because you see somebody that's not feeling well. It wears you down as well.
Yeah,
so hopefully we can get through all of this.
Hopefully she can get to feeling better, too.
Yeah, it's just been beating her up left and right.
It's hard to fight the allergies.
It is, because when it's allergies, it's not like the cold where you can take something and easily just get rid of the symptoms, get rid of the situation. Allergies are continuous. You can take medicine, but if the allergens are still there tomorrow, it's going to bother you again tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Give her our best.
I shall.
Best. All right. Thanks, Chris. Oklahoma authorities investigate the deaths of 2 people in Delaware County Tuesday evening. Authorities say the bodies of a man and a young boy were found near Highway 28 and 395 Road south of Grand Lake. They say a child found the 2 bodies in a ditch. They're not sure how long the bodies had been there. A car was near the bodies, and officials are not sure if the car is related, but they are getting a search warrant. Joplin police say the bridge construction on South Rangeline Road is causing some traffic issues. To help, the Joplin Police Department is offering tips on navigating around it, and they say not to use a parking lot as a detour. Also, don't make U-turns after a lane restriction or drive between cones. Officers will be watching that closely.
Our recommendation is give yourself more time, leave several minutes early to allow you to have that time stuck in traffic, and as you're traveling, make sure that you're keeping distance between you and the car in front of you, because the more traffic that's on the road and the more congestion that there is, the more likely you are to rear end someone if the traffic were to stop suddenly.
Perhaps the most important advice to remember: take it slow in construction zones. Well, Joplin area program that helps residents lower their utility payments is expanding. The weatherization program at the Economic Security Corporation in Joplin is getting the physical space of its building bigger, approximately 2,400 more square feet. Program is geared towards energy efficiency and helping people who cannot pay their utility bills. Daniel says even if you haven't qualified for the income-based program before, you might now. And the Neosho, Missouri Police Department is warning residents of a scam that cost some victims thousands of dollars. The callers claim to be with government agencies like the FBI and the IRS. Scammers use the name of those agencies and other scare tactics to try to take people's money. Authorities say if you get any calls like this, you should immediately contact the police department.
Well, this morning, we're discussing support for local businesses. Tulsa serving up its 16th annual Restaurant Week. The event helps bring attention to Hunger Awareness Month every year, and the Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma partners with local restaurants for 10 days. It's a win-win situation for all parties involved and shows the community power that local businesses can have if given the support. So our question to you: how do you support local businesses? Do you patronize them, tell people about them? Maybe all those things. Maybe you do something to help, something else to help. So 64% of you say you patronize them, 5% donate to them, 10% tell people, and 16% of you do all of those things. 5% of you saying you do something else. Make sure you vote through our website, through the app, and of course take part in the discussion on our Facebook page.
As a local business owner myself, I appreciate having this question today. Thank you, producers, and thank you to everyone who chooses to patronize local businesses and all of the above.
There are some great mom and pop shops around here.
Yeah.
And talking, even about Restaurant Week in Tulsa, there are some fantastic locally owned restaurants in our area that deliver great food and at reasonable prices. And that's what kind of blows my mind on some of them, that locally owned, sometimes you think they're going to be a bit more expensive. They don't have the buying power of the chain stores, but there are some around here that their prices are extremely reasonable, and even cheaper. You're getting a lower price for more food and higher quality food than you may get from the chain place.
Well, and even though the pandemic is over, we're still dealing with a lot of economic factors where people have less money in their pocketbook, due to gas or other situations, unemployment, and it's important. Don't forget those local businesses. They're out there and they're still struggling, so help them out.
Absolutely.
Right, that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News.
The inflation rate is the number on everyone's minds right now, but do you know all the steps that go into that statistic? I'm Bradley Blackburn with the People checking real prices all across the country.
And we are watching some clear skies and warmer temperatures today. We'll tell you all about that coming up.
In Consumer Watch this morning, the monthly inflation report out yesterday shows prices in most sectors are still stubbornly high, up 8.3% over last year. It's the statistic we're all paying attention to these days, but getting that number takes a lot of work from hundreds of people across the country. Bradley Blackburn shows us.
Casey Wenzel isn't at the grocery store to shop, but she is searching for something very specific.
I'm looking for a 7.5 ounce can of mackerel.
Wenzel is one of 475 economic assistants with the Bureau of Labor Statistics who fan out across the country every month checking actual prices.
Okay, now I'm going to move on to the next item.
And how precise are we talking here?
Very precise, very accurate.
Down to the penny?
Down to the penny.
Pennies matter because they all factor into the Consumer Price Index, the monthly inflation rate used in calculations for everything from Social Security payments to salaries. Maureen McDevitt Green oversees price programs for the Philadelphia region.
I expect most people think that there's some computer someplace that's just like whirling around and spitting out a number, but this is very real.
They track prices for some 100,000 goods and services. Everything from canned mackerel to cars, rents to repair work.
We price telecommunications, we price tuition, we price daycare, anything that you can think about, we're pricing it.
Wenzel has been doing this work for 16 years, and a day on the job means making calls to a gas station.
Price per gallon, please.
And stopping by a bike shop.
Great, thank you so much.
We can't show you the exact stores or products because their confidentiality is protected by law, but the data collectors are precise. Have you ever thought about going on The Price is Right?
No. I can't believe you asked me that question.
Taking the guessing out of the prices that really matter. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, Central New Jersey.
Government data released yesterday showed inflation remaining high in August despite lower gas prices. The report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics said rising food and housing costs are to blame. Analysts said the report means it's likely the Federal Reserve will again vote to raise interest rates when it meets next week. Twitter shareholders formally approved Elon Musk's $44 billion takeover bid on Tuesday. The vote came despite Musk's repeated efforts to back out of the deal. Twitter is suing the Tesla and SpaceX CEO to enforce the agreement. The trial is scheduled to get underway in Delaware October 17th. Queen Elizabeth's personal net worth was never officially disclosed during her life. Estimates put it between $400 and $500 million. The Queen's will is not expected to be made public. Washington Post says the newly crowned king and his siblings will not have to pay any inheritance taxes on the money. That's because of a 1993 agreement with Parliament that limited the monarchy's tax liability. The Queen's wealth is not to be confused with the monarchy's wealth, the so-called royal firm, which has recently been estimated to be around $28 billion. All right, and that's it for Consumer Watch. Let's go over to Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we're looking at pretty decent skies. Oh, wow. Look, it is important what we've been discussing with the passing of Queen Elizabeth. And our forecast also very important as well. Take a look at the sunrise. Nice colors in the sky. Nice temperatures to go along with it. 63 in Joplin. We got 57 Pittsburgh, 58 Columbus, 63 Carthage, 61 Lamar, and 59 in Stockton. And we are still 5 to 10 degrees warmer now than what we were yesterday morning. That's part of the warming trend we're seeing. Ragweed, the main culprit with allergies today, a 9.4 out of 12 today and an 8.9 out of 12 tomorrow. That's that moderately high category. Kids getting on the bus, we're looking at mostly clear skies, 60 degrees at 7 a.m. And when the bus brings them back, still mostly clear and warmer, 86 degrees. As we go through today, looking at an afternoon high of 92 degrees under mostly clear skies. And later this evening, we'll start to see clouds increase. We'll have mostly cloudy skies and an overnight low of 62 degrees. And this weekend, 93 Saturday, 96 Sunday under partly cloudy skies. We start to hit lows into the 70s. Traffic in Joplin right now, by the way, if you are on range line between the mall and 7th Street, you can see an increase in traffic starting to get backed up as more commuters hit the road this morning. So do allow for some extra time if you're heading out the door, maybe a pinch late for wherever it is you may be going. And the good news is, too, if you are doing any flying today or any other kind of traveling, no major delays at the airports across the region or the Midwest for that matter. And thanks to the fact that we're pretty quiet weather-wise across the lower 48, no major airport delays to report this morning. On the 7-day forecast, here's what we do have to report here. We're looking at temperatures rising. Lower to mid-90s as we head through the weekend. We stay hot, we stay dry. We are still watching the possibility of some showers and thunderstorms by the middle to end of next week. But that chance is relatively low right now. And as we mentioned yesterday, it's still about a week, a little more than a week out. So there's a lot of variables between now and then. But between that point and now, it's just going to be hot, it's going to be dry, and we watch those overnight lows gradually creep up into the lower 70s, which will put us 30 degrees warmer for overnight lows than what we were just back on Monday morning. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Sergeant John Moreland. The Erie, Kansas native served in Korea from 1952 to 1953 as part of the 7th Division 73rd Tank Battalion. This decorated veteran earned 2 Purple Hearts, 1 Bronze Star, 3 Korea Battle Citations, and the Good Conduct Medal. To Sergeant John Moreland, we thank you, today's four-state hero.
All right, time to celebrate some Wednesday birthdays today, and we begin in Columbus with Leo Clark turning 6 years old today. And Leo's pictured there at his Aunt Kenzie's wedding. Very nice outfit he's got. Leo, happy birthday to you.
He's either spinning around that pole or looking like he's playing peekaboo. I love it. All right, happy birthday, Leo. And Gannon Harina celebrating birthday number 10 this year. And check out that catch. Wish I could see what the weight was on that. Gannon is in Frontenac.
We've also got Cassidy Borland turning 30 years old in Carthage today. Cassidy, a very happy birthday to you.
In Chanute, Debbie Hansen celebrating the big 6-0 today. Happy birthday, Debbie.
And we've got Stephanie Peternell turning 80 in Arma today. Stephanie, a very happy 80th birthday to you.
And Gary Kilgore celebrating birthday number 81 out in Chanute with love coming from the family.
And we've also got Judd Bailey celebrating a birthday in Girard. Judd, a very happy birthday to you.
I'm loving that mustache. That's pretty cool. All right, happy birthday, Judd. Keep it up. And Chad and Ashley Pierce are celebrating their 15th anniversary. Congratulations to the Pierces out in Altoona.
And our birthday list continues with Sam Johnson celebrating a birthday in Columbus. And we've got Cheryl Gillette turning 66. This happy birthday message is from your husband, Bill. Cheryl, happy birthday to you.
All right. If you have a birthday or an anniversary, it's easy to send them to us. All you have to do is email them to us at birthdays with an S at KOAMTV.com. Don't forget the S on that. Or birthdays at KOAMNewsNow.com.
And while you're at our website, you should take a moment to sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club. When you do that, you get some excellent deals from local businesses. In addition to that, you just get to be part of the birthday club, and how absolutely cool is that? So just go to our website, KOAMNewsNow.com, and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club. All right, now let's talk some weather. 7th and Rangeline looking pretty good with that sunrise, looking nice. 63 degrees is where we are starting our day in Joplin. Looking across the area, we got good temperatures. 61 Iola, 62 Yates Center, 58 Columbus, 57 Pittsburgh, 63 in Carthage as we start the day. And that puts us still 5 to 10 degrees warmer now than what we were 24 hours ago. And we're also worried about allergies. Ragweed, the big one right now. It is a very high rating. It's a moderately high based on the category scale, but 9.4 out of 12 today, 8.9 out of 12 tomorrow. So do keep the allergy medicine handy. Bus stop forecast. But kids getting on the bus here in about 9 minutes or so. 60 degrees, mostly clear skies. Bus turns around. It brings them back later, around 386 in mostly clear skies. Going through the rest of today, it's going to be a hot one. We're looking at afternoon highs around 92 under mostly clear skies. And we see clouds build in later this evening, and as they do so, they bring temperatures down just slightly. 62 degrees for an overnight low tonight. Our weekend forecast looking a little bit on the toasty side. 93 Saturday, 96 Sunday, partly cloudy skies. Temperatures really start to warm up, and then we also see overnight lows in the 70s as we head into the weekend. Future Track shows some attempted rain chances Friday, Saturday, and even possibly into Sunday, but unfortunately most of us are going to remain dry, and these rain chances are extremely low. We even see some rain that tries to work its way in from the north, but as it gets closer, it just kind of fizzles out and leaves us with hot and dry conditions. We're still watching the possibility of maybe some showers or storms next week, because you saw that sharp temperature contrast roll across the area. It's a storm system system. That's a cold front that brings us cooler temperatures. So we're still watching the possibility of some storms with that. And you can see right where it's going to be by the end of next week. Looking at traffic and stuff downtown, you can see in the downtown area, we are starting to pick up a little bit, getting a little busier. So again, if you are out commuting, make sure you allow yourself plenty of extra time because Main Street's not the only location that's dealing with increased traffic. We were looking at 7th and Rangeline, 32nd and Main, traffic picking up. So do make sure you allow yourself plenty of time to get to your destination because you don't want to get stuck in this and be late for wherever it is that you are going. And if you have any travel plans across the area or across the nation even, the good news is because we're pretty quiet across most of the lower 48, we're not dealing with a lot when it comes to airport delays. Across our immediate region, no major delays to report from the weather. Now, this does not include if your flight's been delayed. This is simply weather-related delays. None across the Midwest as a whole or the Eastern Seaboard, and an even wider view, some of the major national airports, no delays to report, at least from weather. Of course, check on your flight to be sure that it is not going to be delayed itself. 7-day forecast shows where we heat up, we stay partly cloudy, we stay dry, we stay hot. We see those overnight lows start to creep back up into the 70s as we roll into the weekend. And then, of course, we're watching some rain chances next week on Hopefully those will come through for us. We're back right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Oklahoma authorities investigate the deaths of 2 people in Delaware County. Authorities say the bodies of a man and a young boy were found near Highway 28 and 395 Road, south of Grand Lake. They're not sure how long the bodies have been there, though a car was near the bodies. Officials are getting a search warrant to see if the car is related. Bridge construction on South Rangeline Road is causing some traffic issues. To help, the Joplin Police Department is offering tips on navigating around it. And they say not to use a parking lot as a detour. Also, don't make U-turns after a lane restriction or drive between cones. Authorities also caution that you should slow down in construction zones. Queen Elizabeth II's coffin arrives at Buckingham Palace after being transported from a Royal Air Force base in West London by car. The royal family received the coffin as it arrived at the palace. The coffin was brought from Edinburgh, Scotland earlier on Tuesday. Elizabeth II's only daughter, Princess Anne, accompanied the Queen on her final flight. And French-Swiss director Jean-Luc Godard dies at the age of 91. A key figure in the French new wave of cinema movement, Godard skyrocketed to international acclaim with his debut film Breathless in 1960 and is credited as one of the most important filmmakers in movie history. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Before you head out the door, we're getting our first taste of the 90s in a while. 92 degrees today for an afternoon high, mostly clear skies. We see increasing clouds tonight, no rain chances, but we are looking at that increasing rain or increasing cloud cover, overnight low of 62, and we stay in the lower to mid 90s for the rest of the week, and we stay partly cloudy, hot, and dry.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making pork with apples and bacon in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And of course, you can tune in to the CBS Mornings right after this, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.